ULTRAKILL is absolutely full of Easter eggs that are reasonably obscure and things that you would just miss playing the game. So I thought it'd be fun to take a few of the favourites that I have, that I've discovered over my time playing this game, and show all of you just some of the silly little things this game has. These aren't going to be the most obscure things in the game, and this definitely isn't a comprehensive list. This is just stuff that I think is interesting or funny, or just a little bit weird. With that being said, the first one definitely has to be this river in 5-S. Now you're probably wondering, what's so weird about this? It's just a river. Well, the weird thing comes at the top of the waterfall, the source of the river itself. Now this isn't possible to reach, to my knowledge, without cheating, but if you go all the way up here, which by the way is an insanely long distance into the sky, you'll find right at the top a little Peter, spewing out the entire waterfall from nothing but his mouth. Now this is actually a little bit more interesting because this was changed in the Ultra Revamp update. This used to be just a square blob with a face on it, but it got changed to be Peter. I don't know why, I think it's just because it's funny. The next interesting thing is something you've definitely seen before, but something you probably just didn't realize you've already seen. This little table is a reference to another New Blood game, Gloomwood. Now, I've not played Gloomwood, I know nothing about it, and the only reason I know this is a reference is because Hakita mentioned it on the dev stream.
Oh yeah, the Gloomwood tables, the tables that Dave fucking hates. we put them in here because le funny in joke. Because this was in Gloomwood. There's this table model. It's not this, but this is just a recreation of it. There's like a table, and Dave just for some reason fucking hates the table model. And whenever there was like during meetings, whenever they used to play Gloomwood, they would be like, "That table's ugly. You should change it." And Elon was like, "Yeah, totally sure," and never did.
You heard it from the man himself, le funny. Another little secret in 5-2 is this door. The devs were making this level were worried that this door would confuse players and they'd think, oh, well this is a door, I can go inside of it. So to make sure no one actually tried going inside of it, they just made the door really low res, so no one would look at it and go, I can use that. They'd look at it and go, oh, there's no way I can use that. It's too low res. And I mean, I guess it worked. I've never seen anyone ever try going in this door. 5-2 really has a lot of these, huh? Now, I can't actually find any source for this, but I've heard through the grapevine that Jaquito comes from misspelling Hakito, which is a misspelling of Hakita. So I've heard that Jaquito's name is a misspelling of Hakita. But I can't actually find a source for this, so if anyone's got like a patient zero for Jaquito's name, I'd love to see it. Escaping 5-2 for a minute, and we go to 7-4, where if you have full brain enabled, you can come over here and look at this. You know, it doesn't look like much, but if you look at it real closely, it kind of starts looking like a certain comic strip. Now, I thought for the longest time that this was an unintentional reference, it just happened to look like that, but I have actually been told recently, no, this was intentional. It's a Lost reference. Now, if you've seen the trailer for the Firestarter, you'll know that Hakita wrote out the word Gorb, because it's literally the thumbnail of the video. But I have no idea what this means. The only even maybe reference is this. If you go inside the Earthmover's brain, there's a little Victoria here, staring at the Gorb plate. And if you were to, kill the brain, the Gaunt light turns off, although it's a little bit hard to see because it moves so much. You can see it now says off. I have honestly got no idea what this means. I just know that these are two places that say Gorb, and this must somehow be connected. I just don't know where that connection is. Speaking of the Earthmover's brain, you might have noticed that it's quite the jiggly boy. Like, if you move it at all, it likes to bounce. The same thing is true for the Minotaur's stomach. Look at it bounce, look at it jiggle. The reason for this is, well, let's be honest, it's very fitting for the video game. Both of these things use a file that gives jiggle physics that comes from a furry porn game. And you know what? Since we're on the topic of that, the voice actor for Gabriel, Gianni Gianni, also voiced in a porn game for furries. Very on brand for this. It's very on brand, isn't it? Now, this one isn't in-game or even related to the developers at all, but some random guy discovered a bacteriophage and just happened to be an ULTRAKILL fan, so we called it Minos Prime with a PH. And then under former names, he called it the Corpse of King Minos. Get it? Now, I've mentioned this one a few times recently, but I was really surprised by how many people didn't know about this. If you want to skip getting the rocket launcher, all you need to do is this. No, I'm serious. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was genuinely surprised how many people didn't know this button exists. I mean, I get that it's hidden outside the map and all that, but I thought it would be more common knowledge. I thought it was reasonably well known, but no. If you press this button, the exact same effect of the hallway flipping over occurs as if you actually grab the rocket launcher. It's put there so you explicitly don't have to grab the rocket launcher. And I am surprised how many people aren't aware of this. Now in 7-S we get what I believe is a 2-for-1 special. This clock will always show the correct time as on your computer. As you can see right now, it is about 8:55. And as of recording, I can tell you, yeah, no, it's about 8:55. But I'm also pretty sure that this is also a reference to one of Hikita's older albums that aren't related to ULTRAKILL. However, that one I might be wrong about, I don't know. So we'll call that one half of a secret. Now, if you go to 7-2 and you no-clip to the start of the outdoor section, it's important that you no-clip because for some reason teleporting with the checkpoint doesn't work. The clock tower will, well, it will do that. Just to show you that teleporting won't work, here we are going to teleport to the outdoor start, and yeah, it doesn't care. I don't know why this is a thing, I don't know who decided to put this in the game, but I'm not complaining, it's pretty funny. Now this is another one that I thought was way more common knowledge than it actually is, but this gutter man doesn't have a coffin on the back. And a lot of people are really confused by this and think it's some kind of bug. No, this is entirely intentional. This guy's coffin is safe and sound right here. It's got the book in it. These are the same dudes. It's just the guy who's like, oh, I don't need you anymore. Yap, 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 yap. And then they dump the coffin here and off they go. Completely coffinless out here. Now, ULTRAKILL has a lot, and I mean a lot of ways to clip out of bounds. But did you know that some of them actually have been left in the game on purpose and have little dev messages behind them? There's pipe clip in 0-1. There's updoor in 0-2. There is wit's end in 1-S. There's off the beaten track in 2-4. And there's yup, that's a cavity in 3-1. With the final clip that I'm being aware of being the filter's gone but the memory remains in 4-3. Now I say this is all the out of bounds clips, I actually didn't know that cavity clip was a thing until a couple of weeks ago, so there could definitely be ones that I've missed, and if you know any more, I'd love to hear them in the comments. In 7-2, if you spawn a bunch of enemies underneath the clock tower, or lure one under it, pause. What the fuck is that checkpoint doing there? That is the checkpoint for when the clock tower has fallen over. Clock tower is... it's not fallen over. Why is that there? What the fuck? And then have the clock tower kill them all. You'll get a unique star bonus. Or the... I'm pretty sure this is a reference to something, I just don't remember what it's referencing. This portion of the video now has 4 bongo cats, don't question it. In the sandbox you might notice that this is a Gmod area. And you're probably wondering, well, how is he allowed to use Gmod assets? Well, not Gmod assets, but you know what I mean. Because of this email hidden behind this wall. An email to Gary Newman. Gary. G. Gary's mod. I guess Hikita just didn't want anyone to assume he stole it. I don't have any footage for this one, so we're just going to sit here in the void. ULTRAKILL was originally going to take place in space, before Hikita decided he was going to make it take place in hell. That's just a little fun fact. Now this one is very easy to notice when you're playing the game, but in the background of the 6-2 ending sequence, Gabriel is sat in what is presumably either heaven or the moon, and in the background, right in the top corner, annoyingly covered by my cheats, you can see planet. You can see Earth. and you can see how it's all grey and devoid of life. It's very easy to miss that or to mistake it for the moon, but it's there, and it's the only site of Earth that we see currently in the entire game. Now, you probably already knew this one, but it's a very easy thing to forget. If we turn the music all the way off, and we stand next to these coffins, you can very faintly hear someone scream as they spend eternity burning in lava. God, this is really contrasted by the Bongo Cats, huh? Now, you've probably noticed while playing the game that street cleaners have a skirt on. But did you know that when they die... Well, that's not a very helpful example. Did you know that when they die, they just lose their skirt? It just disappears. I mean, you can see it happen in real time. It just goes. This has been a thing for a really long time. Now, many of you may know that before Ultra Revamp, on top of this building, there was a little etching that said penis lol. But you can't actually reach it anymore, so a lot of people have probably thought that it's gone away, but no. If you no-clip through the city skyline, it's still there. I don't know why they decided to make this inaccessible. They decided to move Armboy, because he would have been inaccessible with the new city skyline. So why didn't they move the penis? It doesn't make sense. Can we free the penis? Hashtag free the penis. Before Jackhammer got released, and while it was just a teaser thing that we didn't really know what it did, we were all wondering what this little gauge was going to be called, what it was used for. Well, we got many teasers from the devs, and the main one being this gauge was the Luigi Gauge. I can only assume they decided to call it the Luigi Gauge because of the Luigi's Mansion reference in 7-S, where you're hoovering up the ghost drones. Other than that, I don't know why they call it the Luigi Gauge. Now, you're all probably aware that the game keeps track of how many points you have in the shop. But did you know that if you have over 1 billion P, it stops telling you how much you have and just says, like, a lot of P? How do you get 1 billion P? Well, there's a very easy way. Simply enter the cybergrind, have cheats enabled, go out the map, but don't start the cybergrind just yet. Turn on blind enemies, give yourself the spawner arm, spawn anything, I'm gonna just spawn Minos. Turn on no weapon cooldown and go absolutely crazy. This is a lot easier if you do it with Ultra Coins, but as you can see, I'm getting a lot of ricochets here. And yeah, this counts for getting P. As long as you kill yourself to end the wave, you'll actually gain points. Welcome back to the Void. Did you know that the style ranking system is canonically the terminals ranking how stylish your gameplay is? I'm pretty sure this is implied in one of the Prime Sanctum terminals. Now, you're definitely aware that this game uses these blue and red skulls as keys to open doors. However, you probably realize that this skull is an oddly similar color to the ferryman. Well, that's because this skull was a former ferryman. The way ferrymen work is once a ferryman comes around, he will try to kill the already existing ferryman, because only one can exist at any given time. Slight correction, I believe that's not actually true. I think it's because they all want the little cloak that they're wearing, because it was given to them by Gabriel, I believe. And the dead ferrymen's skulls become keys for these doors. Now, there is one last thing I want to show off for this video. As we all know, Sisyphus likes to pop his little head out of this thing once you get it low enough. However, once I get to that point, I'll show you something you probably had never seen before. So can you imagine if we had to fight the full thing like the Flesh Prison? That would suck. But anyway, we all know that Sisyphus breaks out of this thing himself. But do you know that he's just kind of all squished up in here without a head? Yeah, that's bad posture, dude. That one must have really hurt. And that was just a handful of the things that I could have put in this video. I didn't want to have things go too far or get too obscure. I thought it'd be much more fun if I put things that a lot of people would already know if they have a few hours in the game, but is still relatively unknown knowledge. Of course, if you have something that you think I should have put in here, let me know in the comments. You might teach me something new, who knows? And this was a very different video than usual, but I kind of had fun making this. This was cool. Maybe I'll do more of this. Subscribe or something, I don't know.